Hello friends, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. My name is Ash and wait, I can do this better. Hello friends, my name is Ash, my pronouns are they, them, and sometimes I look like this. This style is called Lolita fashion. It's an alternative fashion style that originates in Japan. Think of it as a distinctive aesthetic family, just like goth or punk or cottagecore. There's a bunch of good resources online if you'd like to know more, and I'll make sure to leave you some links in the video description down below, because I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the history of the fashion. Back in the olden days, January was the month where everyone posted their Lolita wardrobes on social media, by which I mean LiveJournal, because when I say the olden days, I mean it. But this channel is about the fun of costuming and live action roleplay, and so in this video, I'd like to tell you about 7 ways that Lolita fashion has helped me make my costumes better. Number 1, the importance of silhouette and detail. Lolita fashion has a very recognizable silhouette. The most famous feature is the cupcake-shaped skirt. That's really hard to say, which typically is somewhere between just above the knees and mid-calf. Not too short, but usually not full length. Other distinctive elements of Lolita fashion include puffed or flared sleeves, raised waistlines, modest necklines, big hair or headpieces, decorations at the wrist, decorative shoes, and the use of fabric prints and multiple decorative elements. Note how so far I have described a lot of very structural features, but I haven't talked about colour or motifs or specific trims or materials. That's because within Lolita there are a lot of different categories, called substyles, but if you want to think of them as aesthetics, that works too, that take this basic silhouette and work with a certain colour palette and a certain set of conventions to make something that is still Lolita, but is also sweet, or gothic, or classic, or cyberpunk, or fantasy, or military, or... I find this a really helpful way of thinking about costume design. What is the shape language of your silhouette, and what is the design language of your aesthetic? Because one doesn't automatically lead to the other, and you can create really interesting combinations by mixing and matching. But you also need to check that you're not muddling or neglecting either side. Stray too far from the Lolita silhouette, and it's not Lolita anymore. Maybe for a cyberpunk costume, you want to use a more traditional silhouette, like a folk costume. Maybe for a fantasy costume, you want to use a vintage fashion as your shape language. Maybe for your historical game, you're going to keep the shapes and basic construction accurate, but use some punk rock aesthetic details to convey your character better. The possibilities are endless, and trust me, the Lolita fashion designers keep finding new ones. Number 2, fill every item slot. So you have a dress. Well, okay, that dress is going to be one of 2 things. It's going to have its own sleeves, in which case it's a one piece, and you're good to go ahead to the next step. Or it's going to have straps, in which case it's a jumper skirt, and you need a blouse to go under it because your shoulders have to be covered. There are more options, but we're not going to worry about those right now. Oh, and now you're going to need a petticoat to give it the right shape. And obviously you'll need shoes. You should probably have socks too, or do you want tights? Oh, and you're going to need to put something on your head, otherwise you'll look unbalanced. But with that petticoat, you might accidentally flash someone. You probably need bloomers, and you might as well pick the cute ones that match. And that blouse has short sleeves. You should probably put something on your arms so they don't look bare. And at this point, you might as well put on jewellery too, and makeup, and do something nice with your hair. Wait, you're going out. You need a bag to put your stuff in. So I've described this pretty organically, but actually a lot of the time, putting together a co-ord or a Lolita fashion outfit is fairly formulaic. You can even get notepads that have a list structure. This is the JSK I'm wearing, this blouse, this petticoat, this headpiece, these wrist cuffs, these socks, these shoes, this bag. You don't have to do every single thing every single time, but I find that framework really helpful in making an outfit feel complete. Sometimes I decide a specific thing is too much, if such a thing is even possible, but I've not forgotten anything. I call these my item slots. If you were a character in a video game, you'd want to fill as many of your item slots as possible with the most appropriate item for the circumstances, right? When it comes to costumes, I think a lot of people aren't designers, and thus you can get people who've made beautiful big ball gowns and then don't wear any jewellery or do anything with their hair, or who've made a lovely outfit and forgotten about shoes until the last minute, or who've put all the effort into something that they then just throw any old coat over. If you keep track of your item slots and at least consider filling them, everything is just a little bit more complete. Number 3, originality is overrated. This is a bow. This is a bow. This is also a bow. As is this, 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 this. I can keep going, you guys. My point is, I have a lot of these clip or pin on bows, but they're all different. Not super different, they're all bows, but they're different colours and fabrics, and the details are different. The sizes are different, and they have a different feel. Lolita fashion can be quite formulaic, but that's actually one of its strengths. The bow is one of the shape language elements that's pretty universal, and that's why all these bows exist, because they can kind of be swapped in and out. There's lots of places a bow can go. Some of them even have both a clip and a brooch back, so you can wear them pinned to your clothes or in your hair. If I have a certain colour dress, I can use the matching bow that came with it, or I can use some other bows that are the same colour, with different details to give a different feel to the outfit, make it more cute or more goth or more punk, or I can use bows of a different colour because I want to tie in some other pieces of the outfit, but they're all bows. The temptation when you're making or designing your own costumes is to reinvent the wheel every time, and sometimes that's fun. But if you make another dress with the same pattern, just different fabric and different sleeves, it's still going to work with all the shifts and all the surcoats you already have. If you really like the fabric you picked for that coat and you've got some left over, make a jacket for when it's warmer. If you make a new set of accessories in a different colour, maybe with gems and chains instead of the fabric trim you used last time, but otherwise basically the same shapes, you're going to be able to wear them with all the existing costume pieces you already have that go with the first set. Repetition is really discouraged in some costuming circles, but honestly, it's the way to go if you want to be able to mix and match all the things you already own. Number 4, versatility is key. On that note, let's say you've bought your first Lolita outfit and it's a set. Does that mean that's the only way you can ever wear it? No, of course not. In Lolita fashion, if you don't want to keep buying new outfits, and you don't because these are expensive, you have to keep coming up with new ways to wear what you already own. I think every LARPer in the audience just cringed. Periodically, I go through an exercise where I try and come up with new outfits from pieces I already own. It really pushes me to step outside the box. So, just because this is a more cute dress, what happens if I try and wear it in a more gothic or classic way? Can I pair it with a different colour I hadn't thought of before? What happens if I use fancier accessories or more simple ones? What if I wear this dress under a jumper skirt so it looks like a blouse? What if I put a blouse over a jumper skirt instead of under it? Sometimes when I do this, I come up with gaps. I can't quite make this outfit work the way I want it to because I don't have a pair of silver shoes, or I think I want a red blouse, or I don't have enough brown accessories. At this point, I need to make a decision. How essential is that item, and can I wear it with anything else? Because there's no point getting a whole host of accessories that I'm only ever going to wear with this specific dress, because that's not how this works. I'm not going to wear the exact same outfit again and again and be happy with it. Not that there's anything wrong with wearing the exact same outfit again and again. I'm just needy and it keeps you entertained. So I can't be going, okay, I'm picking out Astro Regimen, so my hands are tied. I have to use that headbow and the navy shoes and the rocket ship handbag. Okay, but look at this. This was a bad example. Why wouldn't you want the rocket ship bag? I love this thing. When this comes up, one of two things will happen. Either I'll think carefully about each new piece I'm adding to my wardrobe, whether it's a bow or a blouse or a whole new dress, and whether I could wear it with pieces I already have or not. Or I'll impulse buy something and, oh look, it doesn't go with anything I own. I should probably get a blouse specifically to go with that jumper skirt and another dress and matching shoes and 2 more dresses because I need something else to wear with these pieces, and now purple is a staple colour in my wardrobe, so I can buy anything purple I want. Winning! Number 5, coordinate, coordinate, coordinate. On that note, how do you decide what you can and can't wear together? You often start with your main piece, and if you're not sure about things, I recommend this strategy. We're going to start by looking at it. I know, groundbreaking. This piece features Kuromi, who is a Sanrio character, the best Sanrio character, and I would describe it as quite cute or sweet, but with a colour palette that skews a little goth. Let's talk colours first of all. This dress has black, white, light purple, and this kind of pink, maybe some grey. It has a pattern, and it also has stripes. It has lace and a few other design details. It also has motifs. Now, some prints are going to have more generic motifs like butterflies or bunnies or coffins. But this has a really specific motif. I do have more Kuromi things though. It does also have stars, which is a more common design element. It's a JSK, or a jumper skirt, so it's going to need a blouse. So why don't we start by figuring out blouses? We could use a black blouse like this one. I like that this has quite a pointy shape to it because Kuromi is quite pointy. I'd worry about wearing black tights with a black blouse because then you end up looking like you're wearing a bodysuit under the dress. Also, I have Kuromi shoes. They are black, so maybe I should be wearing white tights, or maybe I should use the Kuromi socks I have. That's a lot of Kuromi. I also think because this blouse is cropped with a cute bottom edge, I could wear it over the top of the JSK too, as well as under it. We could use a white blouse. This one is very frilly and kind of over the top. I like it, but it makes the dress look a little plain. I think this could work, but I'd want a lot of accessories. Definitely a really big headpiece, ideally with some white lace to carry on the theme of all the white lace. I would probably want roughly white socks, maybe the Kuromi socks. I don't think I would want to wear the black shoes with this much light colour. That's okay. I have some light purple shoes, but again, they're a bit simple. Maybe more bows is the answer. Yes, you can put bows on shoes. We could try a purple blouse. This one's quite understated. It doesn't have a lot of detail. I'm not certain the purples match. Because it's so simple, I definitely think that the Kuromi socks and shoes would really elevate this outfit. And the bag! I have a Kuromi bag. All right, let's get creative. What about this dress? I think I could wear this as a blouse. I think the colours are a pretty good balance, but it's quite severe and elegant. And this is quite a cute dress, so I think I would pick solid tights, not the Kuromi stripy socks, and I think probably the more elegant shoes, because they're pretty classic. Maybe no bows this time. Maybe bows. I like bows. Then I think if I wanted to make it more goth and bring some of the whimsy back in, I could use this pumpkin bag, or I could use the Kuromi bag, or I could use this ghost bag. That one's a bit too cutesy for this blouse, but maybe. So I'm not sure if this would actually work, but this is a different one piece with a pattern. It's got a little star pattern all over it, and this great collar and sleeves. Getting two prints to work together is difficult. You've noticed I've only been trying to match patterns exactly or use solids so far. My usual rule is that patterns should be either really, really similar or quite different if you want them to work together. So because these both have stars, that might work, but two very organic all over patterns with different motifs usually won't work together. A nice all over scatter pattern and then a very bottom heavy border print like this one, or a very busy pattern and a very simple one, that can work. It's some advanced level stuff though. Because this one piece has a border print that's mostly going to be covered up by the JSK, I think it might work. If I can deal with these bows on the waist, which I think are not removable, it might not fit. Now, we said there was pink in this dress. Can I match it with a pink blouse? Not this one. I don't think that's the right shade of pink. This one maybe. I think I could make this work. I need a lot more pink to make it look balanced though, because it's so subtle. I don't own a lot of pink, but it definitely feels like a possibility. Now I'm looking at headpieces and accessories. I don't have a matching head bow. I just have this clip on, which I could put in my hair. I think this head bow, which belongs to a different set, could be really nice. It's purple and black and has the same kind of spiky shape language. I also like this brooch. Again, it's got the colours, but it's very goth. It goes with that purple dress from earlier. And it's also got a rabbit, and Kuromi is kind of a rabbit. I think I have some Alice in Wonderland jewellery that has rabbits on it. Or I could use this head bow with the print that goes with the rabbit dress again. Because it's chiffon material, maybe it'll work with this blouse too. I could use this Ace of Spades brooch because the colours work, but the motif doesn't really go with anything else. Maybe if I use this head bow, I can make it work, tie the two together. I have a couple more clips that go with it, but I think I'd have to use all of them together or the motif would look out of place. What I really need is one of those spade-shaped black bags you can get. Putting that on the list. This may all be going over your head, so let me break it down for you. I'm looking at colour. All of the colours, no matter how minor, and their shade, hue, and intensity. I'm looking at level of detail and the feel of those details in a piece. I'm looking at motifs and patterns and shapes, and I'm looking at whether I want things to match or to contrast, either in colour, shape, motif, level of detail. I love this kind of creative play with clothing, and I think it's something that's really worth doing with the clothes you already have, either in your wardrobe or your costume cupboard, because there's ways of wearing things you haven't even thought of yet. Number 6, be creative in your influences. If you start researching Lolita fashion, you'll quickly find many sources that state that Lolita fashion is heavily inspired by Rococo and Victorian fashions. And I think a lot of people misunderstand that statement a little. There's a lot of historical details in Lolita. Skirt shapes, sleeve shapes, trims, items like bonnets, bloomers and petticoats. And that's what people usually focus on as the historical influence. Inevitably, those people will also point at things like Lolita bonnets, bloomers and petticoats and say, well, they're not very historically accurate. They just have historical names. I think this really overlooks the main way Lolita draws on historical influences. It's a very formalized way of dressing that uses all available options to emphasize the fashionable shape. In the Georgian and Victorian periods, if you weren't wearing stays or a necktie or a jacket or a hat or a bustle or whatever it might be, you weren't properly dressed. If you look for advice on building a historical costume for a particular era, you will get directions that say you will need the foundations for the correct shape, and then you'll need a shift or a shirt under that for practicality, and then you'll need a gown or a suit, and you'll need a hat and gloves, or you'll need the right hair or fake the right hair, and so on and so forth. You don't have to do any of that. If you have a mid-Victorian dress you want to wear without a corset and crinoline as an everyday outfit or a history bound, you can do that. It's just not an accurate representation of that period because it's not trying to represent the desirable aesthetic of that era. If you have a Lolita dress that you don't want to wear with a blouse and a petticoat and a headpiece, or a Lolita skirt you want to wear with a t-shirt and trainers, you can do that. It's your clothes. It's just not a strictly Lolita fashion outfit because it's not giving the desirable silhouette and aesthetic of Lolita fashion. Lolita bounding isn't really a thing. Don't try and make it a thing. We just call it casual Lolita or Lolita inspired. And in the same way that outfits from historical periods did, Lolita is aimed at a specific desirable shape and aesthetic, so everything needs to serve that. Big headpieces and hair balances out the big petticoats, something that also happened in history. But unlike in history, the shorter skirts, high waist and poofy sleeves can make your upper half look very shortened, so Lolita bonnets and headbows often aim to add height to balance that out. In history, split leg drawers were the preference for cleanliness and modesty, but Lolita exists and has always existed in the era of washing machines and modern bathrooms, so bloomers only have to do the modesty work, and because of the short skirts, they need to be closed. Also because of the short skirts, they're visible, and why would you wear anything that wasn't super cute? Ribbons and lace can be washed now. The Victorian legacy in Lolita isn't just ruffles and lace and bell-shaped gathered skirts. It's a formality, an order to dress, and an exploitation of all aspects of dress to achieve the desirable form. When looking for influences on your own costumes, don't just look at images of fashion. Learn about the cultural and technological context of those fashions, because that's a huge wealth of influences you can also engage with. Number 7, gender is a construct. So this might be the slightly controversial part, but I am non-binary, and one of the things I really love about Lolita fashion, or at least the way I wear it, is that it's so exaggerated and stylized, and so much of this, the hair, the shape, isn't real, that even though Lolita fashion is incredibly feminine, I don't feel like I'm dressing like a girl. And yes, a lot of people who wear Lolita fashion are women, and many of them enjoy using it to express their womanness very explicitly, which I think is great, but I don't, and that's okay, and it doesn't feel like I have to subvert or change things about it in order to feel more gender neutral, because it is gender neutral, because I'm wearing it. I think this dress makes me look like I don't have a gender, or maybe I do, and it's just that I'm hot. That's not everyone's experience, and if you're looking at this and going, gosh, I love it, but no, I wish there was a version for boys, there absolutely is. You're looking for Kodona or OG fashion, or aristocrat if you want full-length trousers and not shorts. Don't blame me for not being about the shorts life, but the key thing for me is that, again, just in my personal experience, it doesn't feel gendered because it's so deeply and mindfully constructed. That's not a feeling I get with regards to a lot of historical fashion for reference. I've got increasingly uncomfortable with both women's and men's historical clothing, and I often feel the need to change or subvert some element of it to make it queerer and less gendered gaze. But this already feels pretty gosh darn queer and subversive. I can't explain it, it just does. And that's my main takeaway, is that you can have an incredibly high femme costume that makes you feel like a man. Or you can have an incredibly sharp masculine suit and go, man, I feel like a woman. Does anyone except Shania Twain know what it's like to feel like a woman? Let me know in the comments section. And that's not only fine, it's great. Don't let anyone take that away from you. If you're like, wow, I look like a boy in this dress and I love that, I'm super happy for you. I hope you find something that makes you feel as comfortable and confident and affirmed as Lolita fashion makes me feel. And I feel like costumed events, like LARP games, are perfect for that. I would never have picked up the fashion again if it hadn't been for a LARP event. It was the excuse I needed to try something different and discover I am in love with it and how it makes me feel. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Down in the description box you'll find a link to my Ko-fi page, where you can make a one-off or reoccurring donation to support this channel and the never-ending hellscape of international postage. Ko-fi supporters get early access to all of my videos, permanent access to old live streams, etc., and the odd extra sneak peek. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to keep the YouTube gods happy. Follow me on Instagram if you'd like to see pictures of my cat. Dream big, and I'll see you next time. I think this head bow, which belongs to a different set, is really nice. It's purple and black. Hold it the right way around, Ash. I can't find my epaulettes and forgot that the headpiece that goes with the set is a little hat. I'm not about the little hat life. I'll just work around you then, shall I, puss? I don't know how I've managed this, but I only have one glove, so we're just gonna take that off and we're gonna pretend like I'm wearing the full set for the whole segment, okay? We can do that. I wrote this script before someone crashed the entire Royal Mail system and now no one can post internationally from the UK. Maybe I'll change that. Yeah. Puss. Hey. Hey, no, if you're gonna come here then you're gonna get held.